Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out Shark's new vacuum, the Vertex. So I'm really excited to see how this new will perform. We'll hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get started. Alright, so this is the box that the vacuum comes in. We bought it straight from the Shark website, so I'm not sure if this is the retail box, but I'm thinking that this is not the kind of box you'll find at your big box stores. So do expect that if you're going to buy it straight from Shark. So this box arrived in another box, which also included the under appliance wand, which I guess is kind of like a bonus since they didn't put it inside the box, which is kind of interesting. So we're still using the DuoClean technology with PowerFins. So the Apex didn't have PowerFin, so this must be something new, and I guess that is the self-cleaning brush roll. So we're going to take a closer look at the details of the vacuum. So we've used Shark vacuums for a very long time. If you guys been around on this channel, you know that we are pretty big Shark fans. We started off with their rotator and some other model I can't remember. Then we went to DuoClean. We really loved those, and then they made it even better with the 0M, and so it's quite exciting to see how they evolved over the years to this vacuum. So this is how it's packed, and it looks like just a bunch of parts thrown in there. So here we have the owner's guide. So it does look like we get a few attachments. The handle with the hose. Looks like our brush roll, the hard pipe, and you guys can see the theme. It's actually this rose gold. And we got the main canister with the motor and everything together. So yeah, and that's everything that was in the box. All right, so let's take a closer look at what we got here. So we have this attachment, got like brushes on it, and it does swivel to make it on an angle or straight. So yeah, this could be quite useful. And then we got the crevice tool here, and that looks quite interesting because we got little rubber nubs right here. And I'm guessing this is like to rub on something if you want to, I guess, clean it off. That's actually kind of interesting. If you guys can see, we got like a little V shape right here, and I think that's to help with better suction. And when you put it flat like this, the little V opens up here, so when you're going on the edges, it's going to have really good pickup power. Very nice that they keep innovating even with these attachments. So here we have the handle, and it feels about the same like the other ones. Actually, maybe even cheaper, to be honest. It doesn't feel all that great, and on top of that, it doesn't look much better either because it's got this weird shiny plastic that's kind of hazy. I'm not too crazy about the look, but the button itself feels okay, I guess. A little clumsy feeling, but I guess that's not going to really matter as long as it works. So there are connection points here, and this is the release and our power button on the top here. And we do have some textured rubber, and it's not really grippy, but it seems like the right amount of grip. So, and also underneath the handle there's a kind of rubbery grip, but it's almost kind of like a hybrid between plastic and rubber. It doesn't feel ultra rubbery, but not also hard as plastic. So yeah, I think they got that part pretty good because it feels pretty nice. And down to the pipe are pretty good, and they last longer, but I kind of miss the old Apex pipe where it had bigger chunks where it separated as it went. So it was a lot longer because it could go a lot farther. And also this one tends to fight you when there's suction. It tends to want to collapse really hard as you're trying to pull it, so it's a little harder to use, but it's kind of understandable why they used it. I think it's more durable. Yeah, and this is our other end that'll plug in into the vacuum housing. So it all looks pretty good and kind of generic for a vacuum. And then normally these parts hold up pretty well, so we'll have to see how this one will last. So we also get this under appliance wand, and there's some suction here underneath and a little brush. And the point of this is to go underneath fridge or whatever and, you know, clean out the dirt there. So this could be useful, and it does extend quite a bit, so you can really get far down. And there's a little lock here that locks it where it doesn't go back in. So this is the hard pipe, pretty typical part. This is what holds everything together. The color again is quite interesting. I definitely don't mind it, but it seems like they should have maybe went with a little bit more of a neutral color. The little Shark logo here, and it's shiny. All right, so here we have the main part, which is the bucket and the motor assembly all together. And right off the bat, I don't like that this clear piece here is completely clear and it's not even darkened. And the reason I don't like that is because it's going to make it look dirty after a while really quick. So unless you meticulously clean it all the time, it's just going to start to look bad over time. So kind of unfortunate that they didn't go with a darkened clear plastic, because those look much better over time. But I'm guessing this is the first iteration or version of this Vertex, and there's probably going to be other models coming out with different looks and styles and maybe even more features. But what stands out right away is how large the capacity is compared to the older vacuums, or at least it appears to be much larger. So that's a plus. On the front here we have the logo with the model. The intake here on the bottom, a bit smaller. It says power lift away. It does look pretty good though. Kind of reminds me of some retro stuff from the 60s or 70s. But yeah, it looks pretty typical plasticky vacuum. And on the back here we do have a label, and our model number is AZ2000W. So yeah, I think that 2002 is the one that comes with the extra pet tools as a kit. Now the cord here, which is quite important, seems to be quite long, as they usually are. I'm guessing it's probably between 25 and 30 feet, but I'll pop it up here on the screen. But yeah, it looks like that typical pretty heavy duty cord that should last a long time. So on the top we have a button that releases it for lift away, and another one here to release the dust bucket. So let's go ahead and do that. Pushes it out, and that's what the dust bucket looks like by itself. So on the bottom here we have a little release to dump out the dirt inside. And to open the top, there's two little buttons here right on the side of the handle that you push, and that releases. So here we can see we got a pretty long conal filter, and that is actually stainless steel, I think, but it's really fine. So you want to be really careful when you do wash this thing not to leave this thing wet, because it will most likely rust, or at least it did before. So if you are going to wash it with water, make sure you wipe it off really good. So here is where our motor is. Rose gold theme here even on the inside, and it is shown through the dust bucket. What's interesting is the dust is going to cover it anyways, or when it gets dirty it's just gonna make it look worse. But yeah, it's a nice touch, I guess, when you do see it. But on the top we can see we have filters, and they definitely changed the design of the filter. So instead of being a cylinder, now it's just like a pancake here. So definitely less surface area than the round ones, or at least it seems like it. Maybe not. We'll see how this holds up. And then we got a really large secondary filter beneath that, and under there we can see the motor itself. So this vacuum should be pretty powerful, or even more powerful than the Apex vacuums, and those were great already. And hopefully these filters here will still do a great job in filtering like before. Now below that we have another lid here, and this is where our HEPA filter is. So there's a little arrow here that we can click. So basically it just slides out, and it's like a whole bottom piece. You can see it's almost like a huge tray, and underneath the whole thing is the HEPA filter. So they went with a humongous filter, and so to release it you just pull on this piece here and it comes right out. I'm not sure if this is bigger than the Apex, but it sure seems like it by a little bit at least. See our motor in there. So I'm glad to see that they didn't go with a smaller HEPA filter, because this is the main part of these kind of vacuums, and one of the reasons why you buy it, because you know, once it sucks things in, it never lets anything out. And that's the whole point of vacuuming. And the HEPA filter has a big role of capturing the fine particles. All right, and so this is all the canister assembly looks like. Now, what I'm really excited about is the head, because it's a whole different technology and seems to be evolving with Shark over the years. And right off the bat, guys, I can tell you that I'm not a huge fan of the design and how it looks. It definitely looks a little cheap, and the color combinations just seem a little strange. The gold with the blue. So it appears that the top here doesn't come off at all, or at least what I can see. So we have an array of lights here. LED lights, Brushroll indicator light on the side, our logo, some slogans, DuoClean PowerFins, a little picture of a foot. So that just means you put your foot on it and then release it to vacuum. The wheels look pretty nice. They have a rubber coating on it, and it's a hard rubber, so hopefully that'll last. So looking underneath, we can see the DuoClean, and that just means that there's two rollers, and the front roller here is what the DuoClean is. And so what it does, it draws things into the Brushroll. And so I guess the new thing about the Brushroll are these fins here, and they're kind of tapered in an interesting way. And I guess that's what the PowerFins are, which is kind of interesting, because the other vacuums did have these same kind of fins. They just weren't shaped this way, and they were a bit smaller, I think. We still get a little bit of brushes here, but mostly we get these fins. and the roll itself seems to be much larger, and the brushes and fins are quite small in depth, so I guess this is better maybe, but we'll definitely have to see how it works. Now, one thing Shark is notorious for are these little wheels breaking. I don't know how they fix that or not, but the good part is that they look like they pop out really easy on both sides. So we'll have to see how these little guys last, because they have a bad reputation with the older vacuums, but we will see and definitely keep you guys updated on that. So on the side here, we can see that there's a release button. So if we move it to the side, it's going to release the front brush. And the front brush has a good weight to it, quite heavy, so it should be strong. And also this material here feels different. The black portions are a lot rougher than the blue. The blue is very soft and fine, and then the black is like hard brittles. So that's one thing that's great about DuoClean, is that it does very well of dusting off floor. So if you have dust everywhere, this will easily fix that issue. So yeah, this part of the vacuum looks like it's going to be a nice performer. And by the way, these teeth here, they get clogged up pretty quick, so you do have to take this roll off once in a while and clean it out in between these teeth. Now, as far as the older vacuums go, the 0Ms, you almost didn't really have to clean out the brush roll at all because of some teeth that were keeping it clean. But this one doesn't appear to even have teeth that I can tell, and it's completely relying on these flaps here to cut hairs off. So it's supposed to be tangle free, and we're definitely going to update you guys after we use it for a while, see how well that works. All right, so for the next part, let's put the vacuum together, and that's actually pretty simple. So starting with the head, what we're gonna do is we're gonna insert the hard pipe into it, and that's gonna click in. And then we're gonna grab our main canister, and that simply just slots right there, just like that. And then it's gonna click in right here. So to remove the bucket, you click the power lift away button here, and that removes it. And the wand releases right here, that releases the wand. So very simple and very easy to use. And so for the handle, that clicks up here, and the release is right here. And the other end goes on the side. So there are some contacts that do connect here, and that's for the functions on the handle. And then our flexible pipe connects here about midway, and that's it. And our cable stores around these two tabs. So yeah, the cord just winds around, and it is a little stiff when it's new, so it has a lot of kinks in it. That'll straighten out over time. And our accessories go on the back, so the brush will go underneath the hose and the crevice tool on the other side. So yeah guys, not too sure what to think about the overall look of this thing. I guess it's okay. I guess that blue is really throwing me off with the rose gold, but overall, you know, it's a vacuum, and at the end of the day, a good vacuum cleans good, and hopefully that's what this one will be. So for the next part, let's plug it in the wall and turn it on and see how loud it is. So pulling the cord off is quite easy. This little bracket holder twists, and it can release the whole cord and just kind of slide it off, and then we can unravel the whole thing just like that, and then we can plug it in. All right, so let's see how the vacuum sounds. So here we have the power button, and below that we have the selector for the different floor types. We got hard floor, carpet, low pile, and thick carpet or rugs. So the way this works is the lower it is, the more suction it is, and the higher up, the less suction. It opens up a valve here that lets air in so it doesn't suck as hard. So if you're gonna go over little rugs or really thick carpet, you wanna go higher here because it'll suck too hard and, you know, try to suck it into the head. So this is a push button that activates a relay that turns on the motor. So let's go ahead and do that. And there it goes. So hopefully you guys can hear. It's not too loud, but you know, it's definitely a vacuum sound, but it's not that annoying sound. It's pretty pleasant. And we can see the LED down here. Pretty nice. It is a little bit more on the bluer side, but it does seem pretty bright. Now, if you can tell that nothing is spinning, and whenever the vacuum is in the upright position, it just sucks. So to activate the roll, you have to flick it over and use it. And also on the handle, we do have a light here. So whenever we select the different modes, it lights that mode up. And as I switch this, maybe you guys can hear, there's a sucking of air right here. Actually, I can feel it sucking. So I'm gonna go to the medium stage. So all we gotta do is just step on it, and then release it, and the brush roll will start spinning. So right now we're on medium pile, and that's about right for this carpet. And so right away I can feel that it's sucking really good. So if we put it in the upright position, the brush roll turns off. So let's go ahead and turn it off. So this carpet has just recently been vacuumed, and we can see that we already picked up, it looks like it's mostly the carpet fiber, what I can tell here. So yeah, the vacuum seems to be very powerful as I just go over the carpet. And this is what you're going to notice if you buy a Shark vacuum, especially this Vertex, is that all the areas that you thought were clean are not as clean as you think. And when you start vacuuming, you're going to start picking up all kinds of stuff. And so right away, guys, maybe you can see, I don't know, this clear plastic here is, you know, starting to not look so great, and the more we use it, the worse it'll look. And plus, you know, we're collecting trash in here, but if you do wash it once in a while, you know, you can keep it reasonably nice looking. Now, if you wanted to use the powered lift away, all you got to do is just click here and lift the whole motor assembly off, and you can hold it in one hand and use the stick part to go underneath furniture, tables, things like that. So it's very convenient, and even stairs and stuff. Now, another pretty cool trick that this vacuum can do, if we release the handle here and then release the wand stick, our handle can go straight into the head. And so if you're needing to vacuum like stairs or anything that requires a really short handle, you can do that. So yeah, you just use it the same way, and you guys can see it works great. So this is probably not a very well-known configuration because the applications are quite limited, but for small areas that you need to get into, this might work very well. And obviously, guys, you can use the lift away with a wand, and then at the end of the wand put, you know, whatever attachment you want and reach pretty high places for spider webs and whatnot else. And also this under appliance wand, you know, it pretty much worked the same way. You go into here, and then, you know, you can go under appliances and whatnot else, and that extends even farther. So yeah, pretty versatile with the attachments that it comes with. All right, so for the next part, I think we're just gonna go around the house and vacuum and see what we collect. And so this is the Shark Vertex, and definitely lives up to the expectation of being the most powerful vacuum that Shark has created yet. As we used it around the house, we noticed that it sucks so hard that on certain carpets or floors, it actually sucks a little too hard where it's hard to move. I know that's a weird problem to have. It does feel like it's too much sometimes, but the good part is that you can adjust it here. So we just go to the middle or even higher, and it'll suck air through the side here. It makes it way easier to use. Now in our home, we already use a Shark vacuum, the Apex. That thing already picks up so well, but we've definitely noticed that this vacuum goes even further and finds dirt no matter where you put it. So obviously mostly in carpets and rugs and things like that, that's where it extracts that extra dust and dirt. So as far as the brush roll goes, I think that over time we'll be able to see how it does with hairs and things like that. So this vacuum here is actually going to work and do some house cleaning that my wife does on the side. So it'll be used pretty hard. In about a month's time, I'm going to update you guys of how it held up and all the pros and cons. So if you're interested in an update, stay tuned for that. But yeah, we pretty much vacuumed anything you could vacuum. Some beans, rice, and just normal dirt and dust. And honestly, guys, I don't think we've used the vacuum more than 10 minutes, and this is all it picked up, which is quite impressive. So if you have a carpeted house, this vacuum will impress you of how much you can pull out of your carpets. Also, guys, just like I thought, this clear plastic here is, you know, starting to look pretty bad. You can kind of see where the dirt goes in. And then if we go to the front here, You know, we got this really ugly blob of brown, and unfortunately when you have dirt, this is what it's going to look like. And I'm kind of surprised that Shark didn't cover it up, because before they actually even put like stickers up here. I mean, obviously I prefer it clean like this, but I guess to me this is a little bit ugly, and you know, just kind of looks a little cheap, I guess, or you know, getting a brand new vacuum and after one use having it look like this. And the light up front here is actually quite adequate and quite bright. It is a little bit more on the bluer side, which is okay. I prefer the more white ones, but it's definitely helpful because when it shines to the front, you can really see all the dirt and little crumbs and particles a lot easier. And speaking about the light, there's one thing that's kind of disappointing, is that the handle itself does not have a light here, because the Apexes and some other models have a light here whenever you take the handle off and turns on here. But I'm guessing because this is the first version of this vacuum, I'm thinking next year sometimes they probably will come out with another model that will include that light. But other than that, there's nothing really to complain. It is a little bit louder than the Apexes, and I think it does draw more power from your socket. And actually, that is another thing that we noticed, is the cord actually gets warm. So I think it is overdoing itself and drawing a bit more power to spin up that motor for the suction. So yeah, overall seems like a great vacuum and definitely meets our expectations with the performance. Now, I'm not too crazy about the looks, but that's just me. So my wife actually doesn't mind it as much and think it looks fine. So overall, guys, I have to say, if you want a new vacuum, this is definitely should be on your top list, in my opinion, because you're not going to get this kind of performance in anything else. Now, because they just came out recently, the price is probably a little higher than it should be, but there should be sales coming up, so keep an eye on that. And if you want to get one, I'm going to have some links in the description, so check it out. And if you don't need anything crazy, but you just need great, I would highly recommend going to check out the Apex, and I do have quite a bit of videos on that, so check those out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, then hit that like button, and also stay tuned for more videos of this vacuum with the update and anything else that comes up. All right, well, I hope this video was helpful and enjoyable, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.